So this is episode 2. Actually, before we open this, these came. I want to show you guys. It says, build to find out what happens. You have an example like on the box, but then if you actually make the puzzle, there's a difference somewhere. There's probably more to it, but I bought series 1, so it should be fun sometime. Okay, episode 2. So, to recap episode 1, a kid went missing, teenager, 15 I think he was. He went missing and the police are like not finding anything. They think he just ran away, and the mom hires us because she thinks there's more to it. So we started out with like a diary and stuff, and then we gave her a location that we think he might have gone to, and then we got this cool audio recording where she went into the building and was like, oh my god, he was here, and then she found a bunch of papers in that location, right, and said she would send it to us. So that must be this stuff. Cool. South Woodland Academy. Pencil case. Let me just mark it all off again. We have these pages. I don't know what order they're in. What would this be? Handwritten letter? These look like diary pages. And then there's these. Okay, let's see. Letter from Rosemary. Which one is that? That has to be this one. Okay, let's start with that one. Then Liam's correspondence. Oh, this is the cipher. Cool. The lore pamphlet. That must be this, right? A booklet? Yeah. So we have that. Security reports for the Historical Society. Feedback. Incident report. Disciplinary report? I'm not sure. It also says carved figurine. I don't think I have that unless it's in here. Oh, yeah, it is. Whoa, look at that. That's creepy. Okay, so that's the carved figurine. Yeah, I don't know what the disciplinary report is. It might just be this feedback form. I think we have everything. So start with the letter. Put this here for atmosphere. Detective. After going so long without any leads, finding Liam's things in the basement of the Historical Museum has filled me with so much hope and so much fear in equal measure. As wonderful as it is to have found something of his, I can barely bring myself to look at the second set of handwriting that's scrawled all over his papers. Who was talking to Liam down there, and what the hell did they say to him? It's nauseating to think about my son down in the cold and the dark, being fed poison by some manipulative creep. When I was in that basement, something felt wrong about the place to me. I felt like I was being watched the entire time, and then when I went to pick up Liam's things, I swear I felt something on the back of my neck, almost like a hand brushing against me. There was nobody there when I turned around, of course, but it almost gave me a heart attack. Once I pulled myself together, I showed the sheriff everything you helped me find. But just like every other time I've tried to get him to do his damn job over the past few months, Lenning told me the evidence wasn't sufficient to justify putting more resources into Liam's case. Not only has the sheriff flat out refused to start organizing any more search parties to comb through the forest, he didn't even process anything from the basement as evidence. He left everything I found with me. He told me to be thankful to have a few new mementos of my son, some things that I could keep close. If he thinks I'm gonna sit back and let this happen, he's got another thing coming. Honey, you got a big storm coming. And now I lost track of where I was. I was too busy doing my thing. I'm sending you everything that I found down there and more. Try to pay special attention to the notes with those symbols on them. When I say that they're strange, I don't just mean that because I can't make heads or tails of them. Whenever I try to look at them for too long, I feel a sharp pain in my temples and something happens to my vision. The symbols start to look as though they're moving, crawling around the page like insects. I don't know how to explain that. I guess I'm tired. I haven't been sleeping well. Hopefully you'll have more luck with them than I did. The notes aren't all of what was down there, though. There's something in Liam's pencil case, something that I think you need to see for yourself. There was also something from Hudson in that basement. I have no idea how it found its way down there. No idea at all, but reading it was like a punch in the gut. I also asked Anthony if anything strange had been happening at the museum recently. He made me promise that I wouldn't call him crazy and then gave me a few reports of odd incidents from the weeks before Liam went missing. He didn't show them to Lanning during the initial investigation because he knew that the sheriff is even less open to suggestions of the supernatural than I am. To be clear, I'm still extremely leery of the notion, but I can't ignore any possible explanation at this point. At the end of the day, among all of this strangeness, we know two things for sure. Someone was talking to my son in that basement, and we need to find out who it was. I need you to find the name of the person Liam was talking to, and send it to me through the tip line at kentcase.com. I've updated the password to ensure that all of this new information stays secure. The new password is quietly5. We finally got a concrete lead. Let's make the most of it. Rosemary. Should we look at the page first then? Because I saved that for last time, but then there was like information on the website as well to read. Yeah, here we go. Lennon called me yesterday morning for once, instead of the other way around. He finally heard that I'd brought in outside help and he had the nerve to condescend to me about it. He told me that it wasn't healthy for me to be chasing false hope. I rushed him off the phone. He's just jealous that I've gotten far closer to Liam without him. Stepping into Liam's room still feels like I'm violating something sacred between us, but I keep wondering if I have overlooked something vital to finding him. I keep hoping that maybe there's a letter to me I haven't found yet. I keep looking at his bed, wanting to tuck him in like I did when he was younger. Oh. Haven't gotten much sleep lately. I keep staying up all night, crying until my eyes dry themselves out and I feel a sort of stillness come over me. Sometimes when I'm all alone in the middle of the night, wrung out like that, it seems like there's not going to be a world to wake up to in the morning. Like the universe has been reduced down to the isolated little bubble of me and my sadness. I can't let that feeling win. I need to remember what's still out there. I tried to call Jess earlier today just to talk. She was polite but a little cagey. I know I make her uncomfortable because she wants to put this place behind her, but I still hope she could put all the baggage she has about this town to the side for just a moment to support her little sister. Seems like that's too much to hope for, though. As soon as I mentioned the forest, she did a theatrical little yawn and mentioned how early it was for her, with the time difference. I took the hint and hung up. When Hud passed, Liam was there for Tristan in ways I couldn't be. Though they fight and bicker like every pair of siblings, Liam needs Tristan and Tristan needed Liam. Tristan hasn't been coping well these past few weeks. I had a dream last night about Liam and Hud. They were walking through the forest towards a tall creature with sharp claws and long dark hair covering its body. Then a cold black fog rose up and I could feel the air freezing their bones. I couldn't tell if they started screaming or laughing, but the noises they made woke me up. Everyone's comments on that neighborly site are really starting to piss me off. Nobody has any business speculating or gossiping or whatever you want to call it about my son. And those comments don't do anything but make folks believe Liam isn't out there. I know he is. I know we can find him. Were there 2 screenshots last time as well? This might be a new one. Donald Cohen. Wicked Woods. I advise that no one step foot in the Black Hills forest. Lately, when I go on hikes in those woods, I notice the trees are different. They aren't in the same places I remember. I know those woods. I've been taking hikes there every Sunday morning for the past 2 years. I know them like the back of my hand. But lately, it feels almost as if the trees move around when I'm not looking and that the path I always follow never takes me to the same place twice. Sounds to me like you're having a few down at Patrick's before your hikes. Piss off, Alexander. I know what I'm seeing. I believe you, Donnie. Something's wrong with those woods, and it has been for centuries. You know, I've had nightmares about them ever since I was a little girl. About lurking, hairy creatures and trees whose branches carve into my skin like knives. I've been dreaming things like that since I was 5 years old, which was a long time before I even heard any stories about the place. There's no earthly explanation for that. I was just out in the forest for the first time fishing with my son and he wouldn't stop begging me to leave. Said he saw a woman staring at us, but I didn't see a thing. So we moved downstream. After setting in the new spot, my son began screaming and crying. Again, he said he saw the same figure hanging from a tree, and every time I looked, there was nothing there. He's usually such a level-headed kid. I don't know if the woods are cursed, but I won't be going back. You're just searching for a reason where it might not exist. People have strange dreams when they're stressed out, or when they're sleep-deprived, or when they eat something that doesn't entirely agree with them before bed. I don't think the Black Hills Forest is wicked or cursed or anything like that. Then how do you explain the trees? How do you explain that missing Kent kid? You know, my cousin Michelle, she was hanging around the History Museum the other day and she overheard Anthony Rapinoe talking on the phone to someone about an investigator from out of town. Not sure what he meant by that. Maybe FBI. It's me! Finding new evidence that proved Liam was hanging out in the History Museum before he disappeared. Apparently he sounded pretty upset. Don't know why Sarah Lanning hasn't brought him in for further questioning. Probably because it's a lost cause. The boy has been gone for months. There's no point in questioning anyone anymore. No, those symbols are sigils, I'm telling you. It's the witch. Cool. So it's empty for now. So now we have our inbox where we need to send the email later. Should we look at these creepy letters? I wonder, do you think... So these are fine. There's nothing written on these. I should probably erase this, right? This seems like the person who sold the thing to me decoded everything already. Yes, I struck gold. Okay. I think the smaller letters were already on there. They're probably a start to like decoding it. This is written with pen though. Okay, so we can't erase everything, but I did my best. I wonder if they start somewhere. Okay, this one doesn't have a back, so it's probably like this. It's strange to think that this may be the last time I come this far out into the forest after spending my entire youth running around this place with an abandon that frankly bordered on stupidity. Guess that's what happened when there's nobody at home who cares enough to keep tabs on you and a tiny part of you wants to trip into the creek and hit your head on a rock just to show them that they should have. Okay, someone's not getting attention. Nevertheless, in a few short weeks, I'm going to be a father. What? I got my own family to think about, and being a father means developing a sense of self-preservation for your kids' sake, if not your own. So, this is my goodbye to a place that's been very important to me for many years. Hopefully, once I've got what I have to say off my chest and leave this letter behind me, I can close out this chapter of my life for good. Ever since I found this place as a teenager, I knew there was something special about it. Special doesn't mean safe, of course, but it does mean fascinating, especially for a precocious and impulsive kid. Yeah, it's not Liam, I think, no. I stumbled, because this... Is this handwriting the same? This handwriting is the same, but not this. I think this is Liam and this is someone else. I stumbled on this strange little hollow by total chance after I'd gotten into some knockdown, drag-out fight with my mother and run away from home. Wait, you have a fight with your mom, but you're gonna be a dad? Okay. Nothing but a few quarters and an empty lighter in my pockets. The first thing that struck me when I walked in was that outside sound didn't seem to penetrate the hollow at all. No cracking twigs or rustling leaves, only the sound of my own breath. That makes me think of that huge hollowed out tree in Fatal Frame 2. That's what I'm imagining right now. The second thing that struck me was the thing at the center of the place, the twisted hollow stump of a tree with bark as white as maggots. I remember Anthony talking about the Blair Witch being tied to a twisted white tree. Ooh, secret message. I went over to get a closer look, and when I put my hand on the bark, I thought he put his head on the bark. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? When I put my hand on the bark, it was colder than I expected it to be. Then I felt a sharp pain in my palm. I'd managed to get the most wicked splinter imaginable, and ended up bleeding all over the tree as well as myself. Oh, blood sacrifice. I started to feel numb and lightheaded, and I left. I got home right before sunset. That's one local taboo that I've never once broken and that I never will break. Knowing about all the people who'd gone missing after staying out too long was enough to make me make that concession, at least. I used to go out to the hollow a few times a week, always in the daytime. I'd write in my journal, and while away and while away the hours, which seemed to pass in a matter of minutes out there. One time in the hollow, I wrote a note that I never intended to send to a girl who I knew was miles out of my league. I couldn't bring myself to throw it out or destroy it, but I was too mortified to keep it anywhere that another living soul might be able to find it. So I shoved it to the very back of the hollow hole of this tree. Oh my god, dude, you're so... Ugh. I know that doesn't necessarily mean anything, but I still couldn't help but feel as though it did. For a short time after that, this was our spot. Her house wasn't the happiest place to be at the time, what with Jess staying over to deal with her whole ex-husband situation. I dared Rosemary to go and find the notes that I wrote for her, and she'd find them and leave some of her own for me. Oh, okay, that's not too bad then. I thought that if neither of us had a place to be happy on our own, I could make a place for us to be happy together, from scratch. Maybe it was naive of me to think that there was any place for joy in the forest, after all the tragedy that had taken place here. Rosemary certainly started to think that so after a while anyway, but even though she hasn't come out here since high school, I've still visited sometimes, just to look at the remnants of our old love notes, or to occasionally squirrel away something new into the tree's hollow. I always liked the image of paper, the pulp of a desiccated tree, being buried within a tree that was dead itself. I like the thought of Rosemary's and my love notes returning to the earth while our bodies are still out there in the real world, alive. But the recurring nightmare that I've started to have about this place lately has been enough to scare even me away. Almost every night I dream that I'm buried underneath that stump. I try to claw my way up, but I never make it to the surface. Ever since I've started having that dream, I felt a stronger than ever before something. We'll decipher that in a bit. Either way, I have a strange feeling that I'm still going to have to go into the forest sometimes for my livelihood. After all, I've got a family now, and they're going to depend on me for a long time. But I can be careful. I'll keep leaving before sunset. I'll never ever bring any of this up to Rosemary. Oh, so it's Liam's dad. It only just occurred to me. She shouldn't have to worry about it, not when she's going to have a new child on her hands so soon. Okay. Shall we decipher? So let me, actually, now that we have the black light, grab the notebook. Let's see if it's visible on cam. Ooh. It's very faint. Can you guys even see that? I can barely see it. I guess it's hard to pick up on camera. Can you guys see the guy? Oh yeah, you can see the guy a little bit. There, when I turn the light away from it a little bit. See him? But yeah, it's much clearer to the naked eye, as they say. I don't know how you're supposed to... Maybe it faded over time? So, we have this. Let's get to work. So I'll go start from there. So that is I. So see this little corner means it's this corner. So it's the letter I, if you have never done Pigpen before. And then this has to be F. E. Then with a dot L. I felt in my... I felt in my gut, probably. Yeah, I felt in my gut that this was the same one. I felt in my gut that this was the same one. The twisted hollow stump of a tree with bark as white as maggots. I remember Anthony talking about the Blair Witch being tied to a twisted white tree. I felt in my gut that this was the same one. Cool. Then, next one. R O S E. Rosemary? Yeah. Rosemary. Oh, this is a long one. as asked. Rosemary asked me to get dinner with her. At the silver. Oh, the silver. What was it again? Silver wind or something? The very same night. Oh, next day. I couldn't bring myself to throw it out or destroy it, but I was too mortified to keep it anywhere that another living soul might be able to find it, so I shoved it to the very back of the hollow hole of this tree. Rosemary asked me to get dinner with her at the Silver Moon the very next day. Oh, it's like he made a wish on the... He made a wish to the witch, and he put blood on the tree. Creepy. So she might be helping him. And then he gets killed by the woods eventually. Ooh. Okay. Then, let's see. What's this one? D. E. A. T. H. Death. Seems about right. D. O. E. S. Doesn't. Death. Doesn't. Always. Mean. Finality. Not when. Love. A-I-N-S. Okay. I always like the image of paper, pulp of a tree, of a dead tree being buried within a tree. I like the thought of Rosemary's and my love notes returning to the earth while our bodies are still out in the real world, alive. Death doesn't always mean finality, not when love remains. Oh, so poetic, dude. Oh, I still have last session's notes. I was like, what is this? Pull to the forest. Yeah. Pull to the forest than ever before. Ever since I've started having that dream, I felt a stronger pull to the forest than ever before. W A S. Was I ever going R-E. Was I ever going out there of my own will? Was I ever going out there of my own free will at all? Interesting. Either way, I have a strange feeling that if I ever visit the hollow. Either way, I have a strange feeling that if I ever visit the hollow again, I'm not going to be able to come back. Was that it? Did I really do all of it already? I felt in my gut that it was the Blair Witch tree. Oh yeah, and then Rosemary asked him out after he did a blood sacrifice. Then death doesn't always mean finality. And then he feels a pull to the forest stronger than before. He starts questioning whether he ever had free will to go there or if he was being controlled, and then he thinks that if he's going back there, he won't be coming back. Okay. So that's his dad. Interesting. Oops, I slipped and did a blood sacrifice. Then I think these are notebook entries. They kind of look the same, but they're printed differently. Like the markings are the same, but the ink is a different color. But that might just be not intentional. I don't know which order these are in, but let's see. This one might be a good place to start because it starts with a question. You know my name? Does it frighten you that I do? I mean, yes, but at the same time, you've had about 1,000,000 chances to attack me or murder me or whatever since I've come out here alone pretty much every day for the past few years. You haven't done any of those things, though, which makes me think you might not be out to get me. But what are you doing then? What are you? I'm more of an absence than a presence. Jumble, jumble, jumble. You're not the Blair Witch? Jumble, jumble, jumble. Sometimes I kind of go numb and then just sort of act without thinking. Other times a thought pops into my head that feels like it's not mine. Is that her? It happens the most often when I'm out walking in the forest. She appears in many different ways. What's your name anyway? You can call me Carver. How long have you been out here? As you said, time works differently in the forest. Do you like my gift? I found it for you in a very old hollow. How'd you get that? I have my ways. The note was written before I was born. It should be nothing but pulp by now. As you said, time works differently in the forest. It really does? Things that should be gone are still out there? Something we can't read. You know, I heard your mother the other night. Your house is close enough to the forest edge for me to listen in. She sent you to your room like a child, all because you spoke your mind. She doesn't like when I talk about him like he's still alive. She says it's unhealthy. She doesn't get that the real unhealthy behavior would be to give up on him if there's any chance he's still out there. Is he? Is my dad out in the woods? Please just tell me. Didn't you see him get crushed by a tree? You know, he wasn't able to finish his last words to you before he choked on his own blood. But what he wanted to say was, thank God you're alright. How do you know that? I'm connected to this place and everything in it. Living and dead and something. Okay, fine. Please help me find him. I'll do anything. I require no payment besides the satisfaction of reuniting a family. Whenever you're ready. Ooh. Oh, wait. Maybe this is the first one. I know you're out there. I see you in the forest all the time, and I bet that you're watching me leave this note for you right now. Who are you? Come on, this note's been on the path for days. There's no way you haven't seen it. Answer me or I'll call the cops and tell them there's a weird man following me. Answer or I'll stop coming out into the woods. What does that mean? Question. So that took me forever to work out, but I think I get it now. And then he writes the reply. I think he was, or at least I hope so. You know, I thought you were him at first. I'd see you in the forest out near where it happened, and I'd think about all the stories there are about this place. There's tons of evidence that time and space doesn't work out here like they do everywhere else. Even my dad would say so sometimes. Plus, I mean, if people can vanish so easily in the forest without any explanation, why shouldn't they be able to reappear too? They almost never find bodies when people go missing, even when they search for months and months. I figured that might mean that people who die in the forest don't really die. I guess I was wrong, though. That's a very interesting theory, Liam. I wouldn't be so quick to discount it. That's why there's the little blotches, because he's leaving the notes out on a path toward the forest. That's cool. So it, like, gets wet sometimes. Is that the order? Oh yeah, that's a very interesting theory, Liam. And then he says, you know my name? So this is probably the order that they're in. Okay. So we have a new cipher here. This is going to be a tricky one. So there's a couple letters they give away. And we're probably going to be able to put it all together from that. Where did we see it? Yeah, these I couldn't erase, so I think these are like given. So this is from the past owner. They just wrote on the paper. Why do you write on the paper and then sell it? Should have mentioned that it's... I mean, I knew it was secondhand, but they should have mentioned that they've written on stuff. Anyway, we could decipher that, but there's also way more to read, so we should probably go over the rest, see if there's maybe more hints about the cipher before we try and decipher it the hard way. Okay. Newly renovated, open for business. Oh, so this is the creepy museum from the map. Oh, yeah, see, there's more on this thing as well. Okay, there might be more. Let's see. See the forest for the trees. Burkittsville, Maryland has a rich history. The Battle of Burkittsville saw a tactical win for Union soldiers during the Civil War, and several of the buildings on Main Street have stood where they stand for centuries. And, of course, what Burkittsville is chiefly known for is our local folklore. Legend has it that an old witch resides in our Black Hills forest, cursing those who set foot into our woods. Is she real? Many believers and skeptics alike have taken the pilgrimage. Oh. I don't know if you guys can see this, but I can see something. Oh god, I don't know if you... there. See, under Is She Real? Very faintly, there's some marks on it. I don't know if you can see it. Yes! Oh my god, there's markings! I don't know if you guys can see that at all. Under Is She Real? Can you see it now? It's like letters under it. But let's just read the printed stuff first. Is she real? Many believers and skeptics alike have taken the pilgrimage to fair Burkittsville to ask this very question. Well, you'll find a wide range of answers among those who live and work in Burkittsville. History tells us that the earliest residents of this area certainly believed in her. Where Burkittsville now sits was once a town known as Blair, although the town's residents fled the area in the late 1700s. It wasn't until 1824 that Burkittsville was officially chartered, and the rest, as they say, is history. Oh, the town's residents fled around the 1700s, and then people came back. Interesting. If you're trying to find the truth behind all the stories, you need to visit the Burkittsville History Museum. Local flavor. Is that a coffin? Do you fear the Blair Witch? Well, rather than go hiking through her woods, come enjoy our collected writings on some of her most infamous haunts. The Burkittsville History Museum boasts the largest collection of material relating to life in historical Blair, as well as the art and craftsmanships of its residents. Take some pictures of the artifacts we've discovered in the woods to remember your trip. Okay. Local events. Creepy dolls. The Burkittsville History Museum is the proud sponsor of many local events. Our fair town is bursting with fun activities and public events, many free of charge. Whether you want to learn about the rich history of Burkittsville or you have a story to share, there's an event for you. The Battle of Burkittsville, a not-so-civil war, guided tours of Old Blair, open mic, this is really happening at the diner, the real story of Blair Witch at the museum, a history reenactment, The Past Comes to Life, run by Greater Frederick County Historical Preservation Society. Okay. About us. These pictures are so creepy. The Burkittsville History Museum is one of the oldest and proudest institutions in our historic community, dedicated to collecting historical texts, land records, regional folklore, and more. A recent fire threatened its historic building, but we're proud to have renovated the Burkittsville History Museum, ensuring the architecture remains faithful to even the earliest documented incarnations of the building. Have you seen her? The Burkittsville History Museum wants to hear any stories you have to share. Drop us a line or join us at our open mic events. I think that's it. Yeah. Okay, so there's definitely blacklight stuff in here. Remember that for later. Okay, and then there's a picture with more of the code stuff. Let's see. Oh, Anthony Rapinoe? Isn't that the museum guy? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Instant report for the museum. Late last night, around 9:15 p.m., I began to hear what sounded like a voice coming from the basement. I was the only staff member on duty. I'd already made sure that the building was clear of patrons, and I'm sure to keep the door to the basement firmly locked. As soon as I managed to convince myself that I imagined the voice the first time, I heard it again. This time, I could swear it said my name. I called out back to it, saying something along the lines of, "Who's there? The museum is closed. You need to leave." I received no response for a long time, but then I heard what was clearly the sound of laughter echoing up from the basement. At that point, because I was feeling more than a little spooked, I grabbed the heaviest object on my desk as a potential weapon, the volume of the encyclopedia. Then I followed the ominous noise to the basement door. When I reached the locked door, I could clearly hear someone or something moving around mere inches behind it. There was a slow scratching noise, like metal on wood. But when I opened the door, all I could see was the empty stairwell leading down into pitch darkness. Then I heard footsteps and shuffling coming from somewhere inside that darkness. I loudly announced that the museum was closed again, that anyone present would have to leave immediately, and that I was about to call the sheriff. There was no reply, but the sound of footsteps continued and started to head up the stairs and towards me. That's when I chucked the encyclopedia down the stairs as hard as I could, slammed the basement door shut, and locked it. Then I phoned the sheriff's office. Deputy Weathers was dispatched and arrived less than 5 minutes later. He looked around the basement, declared that there was nothing there, and made a frankly disparaging comment about my masculinity before leaving. Oh, come on, dude. It was only after Deputy Weathers left, when I reluctantly went to retrieve the damaged encyclopedia, that I noticed the below symbols carved into a section of the topmost basement stair. I photographed the evidence and promptly left the building. I'm attaching a photograph of the carving I found as evidence. Cool. So we'll have to decipher that as well. Then another incident. Same guy. I only got a quick glimpse of the individual from behind. It was a male around 6'2" in height. That's quite tall, isn't it? But it was difficult to tell because he was slouching very heavily. He was wearing a long, filthy coat and mud-stained boots. He moved with a loping gait. About 2 hours ago, at around 10 p.m., I witnessed an unknown individual trespassing in the museum. I was searching through the attic's storage section, looking for anything that we might want to include in the upcoming Civil War in Burkittsville exhibit, when I felt something strange happen. The air in the room seemed to become drastically colder all of a sudden, and I was overcome with the sinking feeling that I wasn't alone. Then I turned around and I saw that, in fact, there was someone crouching down about 5 feet away from me, rifling through a storage cabinet. His back was turned to me, but I gasped loudly when I saw him, and it was clear from his body language that he knew I was there. When the stranger heard me gasp, he slowly stood up. Then he just walked away, not turning around or acknowledging me at all. He climbed down the attic stairs, and fearing for my safety and frankly unable to move, I made 0 attempts to pursue him. I huddled in a corner of the attic, clutching an antique bayonet, called the sheriff's office, and remained where I sat until Deputy Weathers arrived. Weathers searched the museum up and down 3 times alongside me, but when we didn't find any evidence of the man I had seen. We also didn't find any sign of breaking and entering. All possible entrances to the museum were locked when we searched them. Deputy Weathers then had the nerve to threaten to write me up for wasting police resources. After Weathers left, I went to check on the storage cabinet that the intruder had been looking through. It's mostly dedicated to oral transcriptions of 19th and 20th century folk tales, but also contains a few samples of jewelry and other apparel from the time period. After cross-referencing the cabinet's contents with our inventory, I can confirm that nothing was stolen from the cabinet. However, it appears that one item has been added to it. It appears to be a talisman made from sticks and twine, shaped roughly like a human figure. Objects like this have occasionally appeared around town close to the time of an unexplained death or disappearance. I'm gonna go home now. I'm gonna take my personal day tomorrow. Interesting. That's creepy. Do you think he's marked? How tall is, what was it? How tall is 6'2" in centimeters? 187? Oh yeah, that is pretty tall. And that was a guess because he was slouching. So he might be like 2 meters tall. Okay, big guy. Let's see. A feedback form for the museum. Okay. My family drove out to your museum from 3 counties over after seeing the glowing write-up of your establishment in Untold Tales magazine, thinking that we'd have a nice weekend outing and learn something along the way. While we were waylaid by some car trouble that stalled us by a few hours, a tire blew out as we were driving down the road that goes along the edge of the forest, and it took me a long time to install the spare we keep in our trunk. We still arrived with ample time to take a quick look through the museum, or so we thought. Per the information listed directly outside of the building itself, we arrived 1 full hour before closing. Why, then, was the building already locked at that time? Why was I forced to explain to my 2 temperamental children that it was time to turn around and go all the way back home? To make matters worse, as I knocked on the door to the building, I saw an employee standing not 10 feet away from us. He was facing away from me, hunched over a book or something, but he straightened up as soon as I knocked on the door, so he obviously heard me. However, he didn't even turn around. He just calmly walked away through some door without even acknowledging our presence. I have never witnessed such a baffling rudeness in my entire life. I'm going to leave your establishment a scathing review on 5 Square, and I will never take my family to this sad excuse for the town again. Damn. So who was snooping? What the hell, Anthony? This was filed on Saturday. Unacceptable behavior. I've put up with your eccentricities for a long time, but if they're gonna start negatively affecting guest relations, I'll have no choice but to throw the book at you, so to speak. See me at my office as soon as you get in. Rosie, this complaint was filed by a museum guest exactly 1 week before Liam went missing. I don't know who it was those people saw that day, but it wasn't me. It couldn't have been. I've been closing the museum 2 hours early every Saturday for the past 6 months. I'm a member of this historical reenactment band, and it's the only time people are willing to practice. I play bugle for the Union Army. It's a stupid reason to cut work, but nobody ever noticed until now because I'm the only employee on duty Saturdays and because museum attendance is so low across the board. The entire place was locked when they saw this man, whoever he was, and none of our alarms were tripped at any point that day. He shouldn't have been able to get inside. He shouldn't have been there. But they saw him, clear as day. Up until now, it was just me that was witnessing this kind of presence in the building, but this proves that I'm not seeing things. I didn't tell Joseph or the sheriff about any of this because I was already in enough trouble as it was, and I can't afford to lose this job. It was stupid of me to stay quiet. I'm so sorry. I hope you can forgive me. Small writing. Very small font. I think we have now gone through everything. So let's see what's up with this, huh? Okay, so that's more writing. More encrypted writing. There's a whole encrypted bit here. It's so hard to see, though. Does this kind of stuff fade with age? Maybe it's just unfortunate placing. Turn off your lights. I looked at it in the dark as well when I got my little flashlight, and it didn't really improve things. Still pretty hard to see. I think it's just because it's on the books, so the back isn't like... Okay, let me just write it down in the dark and then we can oh, and then I'll put the lights back on. It doesn't help that there's like blades of grass as well on the background, so I'm like, are you a line or grass? Yeah, I can't really tell. I could grab these from the hint thing though. Wow, it looks so spooky on stream like that. Let's see, anything on here? Okay, nothing on there. Oh yeah, let me see if I can see this now better. Oh, I can see it a little better, yeah. Still very hard to see though. Yeah, it's so hard to read. Can you guys see the guy better now? Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, this is all stuff that we've read last time. Okay. So bright! Ah, fuck! What's the regular password then? Oh wait, it says that on the postcard, doesn't it? Like if you get stuck. Go to this page. Oh, the carved figurine has 4 symbols carved into its chest. Figuring out the meaning of these symbols will help you decipher the rest of the symbols. Oh, maybe it says Liam. Maybe. Because it's 4 symbols. Yeah, the 4 symbols spell out Liam. Ayy. Oh, here it is. This is the thing I couldn't read. I can't read. Okay. So this is Liam, which means the 4 circles is L. So we have these. And then this is what I wrote from the magazine. But then there's also... not that one. Not the pen stuff. This one. Here it says living and dead, so these are hints as well to the letters. That's so much text. It's so much to... It was the same with episode 1. It was so much to decipher. Yeah, I'm writing too big, honestly. Maybe I should write like a whole alphabet here. Okay, so we have Liam. This is gonna be a tricky one. Okay, and then I have living and dead here. So we have a V. The N. G. This looks like, it doesn't look the same, but it reminds me of unitology. From Dead Space. The D just looks like a T. That's confusing. E. Okay. So we got a couple letters so far. Oh wait, wasn't there another? Oh, here as well. There was one more spot. Yeah, this is LL. I can see why they wrote on it now. It's very tempting to do so. I'm trying to see like where there's 2 together, like here. I don't know if you see this, but this is an E. So it's something EE. What could that be? And it's at the end here. Something EE. Fee? C? So this might be an S. C is good, yeah. Then this could be was. Because this is AS. Maybe this is a W? Oh yeah, this other one started with that. AMIL? 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 With one letter before and after it. Family? This starts with a Y, so there's a good chance this is you. Yeah, we don't have an O or U. Yeah, this one also ends on A and D. And it might start with an S. S something A and D. See a family. Yeah, you're right. Stand. Then this would be 2. Stand to see a family. I can't stand to see a family. Yeah, that's it. So it's a T. I can't stand to see a family. T-O something N. Torn? Oh, torn apart. Yeah, that's it. Okay. So that's an R. And then that's a P. Okay, so if knowing this now, it starts with if something. Oh yeah, and this was U, so that means I have this for you. If something we don't know, E, we, maybe? C-O-U, could. Yeah. I could. Something E-L-P. I could help. So there has to be an H. So that is he then. If he has? Is my dad out in the woods? Please just tell me. It might still be if he was. Yeah, if he was, I could help you. Yeah, so that has to be W. If he was, I could help you. If I find him. I can't stand to see a family torn apart. Hey, we got it. Okay, so what is this one? T, H, thing? No. There's a G, T, H, I, N, thin, thing, things. Okay. Things and... Should I be writing these down? You guys keep track of it, right? Things and... O-C-C-A, occasionally G-E-O... Oh, people. P-E-O-L-E, people. Things and occasionally people. Things that should be gone are still out there. Things and occasionally people. Things that should be gone are still out there. Okay, so that's this page done, right? How do you... Thank God you're right. That's what your dad thought. How do you know that? I'm connected to this place and everything in it. Living and dead. And... S-O... S-O-M... Somewhere... in... between. So that's a B. Cool. We're only missing J, K, X, and Z. I'm connected to this place and everything in it, living and dead, and somewhere in between. Okay, fine. Help me find him. I'll do anything. I require no payment besides the satisfaction of reuniting a family when you're ready. And then it says... So he writes... So Liam writes in the secret font. T... T-O-M... Tomorrow night. He writes tomorrow night. So he ventured off into the woods? Because the being in the woods is like, I can take you to him. In death! Okay, let's see what this says. I'm not very talkative. I'm not very talkative, so that's a K. I'm not very talkative. What does that mean? It means I'm not very talkative. It means shut the fuck up. Can you understand this? Come on. Come on. Try a little... Yeah, try a little harder. I know you can do it. I know you can do it. Okay, so it took me forever to work out, but I think I get it now. Like this? Yes. That's it. Which one's this one again? V. Very clever. Very clever. Your father must have been very proud. Oh no, he's playing the dad card. Okay. She appears in many different ways. What's your name anyway? You can call me Carver. Carver, like he carves that message. Oh yeah, we need to read that message in the museum. Do you like my gift? I found it for you in a very old hollow. How'd you get that? Wait, what did he give him? I have my ways. The note was written before I was born, so he gave him a note. Does it frighten you that I know your name? I'm more of an absence than a presence. I don't think we've read this yet. W-I-T-C. Oh, not a witch. I'm more of an absence than a presence. Not a witch. Not a human. Not a witch. Not a human. Not a friend. Not a fan. Not a foe. Not alive. Not dead. You're not the Blair Witch. No. Although I hear her sometimes. I feel compulsions. The compulsions she seeds into my heart? Yeah, he's saying he's not the Blair Witch. Not alive, not dead, not friend or foe. More like an absence than a presence. But he does hear the Blair Witch's compulsions. Interesting. Okay, what does this say? I'm not finished? Yeah, I'm not finished yet. I'm not finished yet. Okay. There's more. The pamphlet has invisible ink. And it says this, which means boring. That says boring. Little tree decorations. Then you should made of wood from the forest. Supernatural properties. Okay. Is she real? Oh, this is what I wrote. This is the only thing I could see. So it says, you know she is. Is she real? You know she is. And then it says, oh, this is the grass one. I only got this in the white, and then the rest I couldn't see. Where to? Into the woods? Oh, there's more on the picture. I didn't even see this one. We couldn't even mention Dad. Renovate? You didn't renovate anything. You didn't renovate anything? Renovate? Why is he talking about renovations? I wish I didn't have to. She's the only one who can help me. Oi, I'm starting to like memorize the whole thing. So he met up with mystery guy from the forest. Is that everything? Did we go through everything? Oh my god. We did, didn't we? So we found evidence that he's talking to an entity in the woods. We're in the tip line. Someone was talking to my son. We need to find out who it was. So the answer is Carver, right? The entity. Oh, we have a new message.
Liam was talking with someone who called himself Carver. I recognize the name.
Who's Carver?
Something like 20 years ago. A boy was taken into the forest. Or maybe he wandered in. I don't know. When they sent people out to look for him, they found all kinds of strange carvings on the trunks of trees. People in town started to call whoever left those markings the Carver, and the name stuck. God, I wish Jess were here. Or that I could get her on the phone for more than 5 minutes. She never understood why I stayed in this town. I guess I understand where she was coming from.
Light one up. Jess is her sister, yeah. Who doesn't take her seriously.
Whoever. This complete and utter son of a bitch may be. We're clearly dealing with someone twisted. I mean, who knows what he's done to Liam? Or what he could still be doing. You know, if I think about that, I'm gonna lose it.
That gave me a shiver.
You know what? This will help us get the search parties going again. Sheriff Lanning has a personal stake in this now. When his uncle was sheriff in the 90s, he oversaw the Carver case. I'm going to call Lanning's office right now, and then we're going to round up anyone who will follow me into the forest. I'm going to go back in there, and I'm going to find Carver. And when I do, I'm going to make him feel the same misery and pain that he's put my family through.
Damn, girl. Jeez. That gave me goosebumps. Holy shit. Do you think maybe the police will like give like documents regarding to Carver's disappearance? So maybe we're gonna look into Carver's case next to see how it connects. Another one? No. My head is ready to explode from decoding all of this. But that was another chapter. Very exciting. I really like it, but it is very heavy on the decoding. I wish it had like other like riddles. It's great though. Like, I'm not complaining. It's fucking awesome. Yeah, that was awesome. It's really cool. It's like listening to a podcast, like a story podcast.